Hi everyone and welcome. We are from Group 55 with team member me, Siti Alya, Zahirah Afrina binti Zainuddin, Imran Bin Mansor, and Alif, Danial bin Abdul Aziz. Today, we are diving into one of the biggest corporate scandal in modern history, Volkswagen emission cheating scandal, more widely known as a Dieselgate. Volkswagen emission scandal. In 2015, Volkswagen was exposed for installing software in diesel's car that cheated emissions tests, known as the Dieselgate scandal. It involved around 11 million vehicles worldwide. The software made cars appear environmentally friendly during tests, while in real driving, they emitted nitrogen oxide up to 40 times above legal limits. This case became a global symbol for corporate dishonesty, triggering legal actions, public backlash, and major loss of trust in automotive industry. It also raised deeper questions about ethics, accountability, and environmental responsibility in large corporations. So how did Volkswagen cheat? They installed special software called a DVIT device into their diesel cars. It could detect when the cars was being tested and would reduce emission just for the test. But once on the road, the system turned off and the car emitted up to 40 times more nitrogen oxide than allowed. Surprisingly, this wasn't discovered by the government. Researchers from West Virginia University and ICCT found the problem during real-world testing. Their findings led to an investigation, and in 2015, Volkswagen admitted to cheating in over 11 million vehicles. What's the impact? Over $30 billion in fines, lawsuits, a damaged reputation, and tighter global regulation. It also triggered a shift towards electric vehicles and raised serious questions about corporate ethics.
The Volkswagen emission scandal involves several key technical and engineering issues. First, engineers face the challenge of meeting strict nitrogen oxide emission standards, especially since diesel engines naturally produce more nitrogen oxide than gasoline engines. Second, to cut costs, Volkswagen chose lean nitrogen oxide traps over more effective but expensive SCR systems, especially for smaller cars. Third, there was a trade-off. Using full emission controls would reduce engine power and fuel efficiency, which the company didn't want. So fourth, they developed DVIT device software that could detect lab test conditions and temporarily activate emission controls while disabling them during normal driving. Fifth, this went unnoticed due to a lack of real-world testing and weak internet oversight. And finally, rather than pursue a proper engineering solution, Volkswagen chose an unethical shortcut, violating both regulatory law and engineering integrity. This combination of technical constraints and poor decision-making led to one of the biggest automotive scandals in history.
Despite clear ethical and legal implications, and lastly, there was a failure of ethical leadership within the engineering division at Volkswagen. So strong ethical oversight and adherence to engineering professional could have prevented the scandal from escalating. Corporate profits over societal well-being that led to increased respiratory diseases. Other than that, there was a violation of honesty and integrity in engineering practice, as well as the failure to disclose unethical practices and report violations. So now Volkswagen engineers came forward to expose the emissions cheating scheme despite the clear ethical and legal implications. And lastly, there was a failure of ethical leadership within the engineering division at Volkswagen. So strong ethical oversight and adherence to engineering professional could have prevented the scandal from escalating.
My name is Imran Bin Mansor and I'll present the next slide. So to prevent future ethical and engineering failures like Volkswagen emission scandals, companies and regulators must adopt strong comprehensive measures. First, strengthening ethical education and training for engineers will help build a culture of responsibility and integrity. Second, companies should enhance internal oversight and whistleblower protection to identify and address issues early without fear of retaliation. Third, adopting transparent real-world emission testing ensures the result reflects actual driving conditions, preventing manipulation. Fourth, manufacturers need to invest in robust emission control technologies rather than relying on software cheats. Finally, fostering ethical leadership and corporate accountability will align business goals with environment responsibility and public trust. For the conclusion, the Volkswagen emission scandal is a clear example of what could go wrong when ethics, regulatory compliance and corporate responsibility are ignored. By using DVIT device to cheat emission tests, Volkswagen harmed public health, damaged the environment and lost consumer trust. This case shows why ethical leadership, technical oversight and transparency are essential. To prevent similar failures, companies need to strengthen ethics training, improve compliance system, adopt real-world emission testing, invest in reliable emission control technologies and promote a culture of integrity. Ultimately, the scandal should be a wake-up call for the industry to prioritize ethical practices and sustainable innovation for a cleaner, more responsible future.